We should have a gut that's functioning properly. But the problem is people don't know what that means. Gut issues are a bacterial issue. That's all it is. We can fix a gut in 2 weeks, but it's electrical. Many people say in 2 weeks of drinking the water properly, they're eating gluten and dairy with no inflammation. And I'm not saying you need to eat gluten and dairy, but you should be able to. Every study I've looked at where people were taking high amounts of antioxidants, they end up with cancer. The thing I want to remind people of before we get down this road too far of hydrogen being a miracle drug, because it's not, it is an integral part of your body. The creator, the engineer that created your body, put a hydrogen generator in you in your gut. When we look down to a molecular level, we're carbon-hydrogen chains. So you remove hydrogen out, you begin to dismantle a human being, which is what happens when you have gut damage. The reality is your body needs hydrogen to function properly. That's the bottom line. There is no benefit to drinking higher pH water. That's been proven since the 80s. And as long as you keep buying it, they'll keep selling it. We should never be talking about pH of food or drink we're putting in our body. And you really don't want your body alkaline, because the more alkaline your cells are, the more cancer will thrive. Unfortunately, the bottles in the store are chemicals that are making it a 9.4 pH. It's just for marketing purposes. Literally, there's no benefit.
Are there any alkaline foods out there,
No
Paul?
such thing.
No such thing as alkaline foods?
No.
But there's alkaline diets and alkaline cookbooks.
That's what they call it, but there's no such thing.
All right, Paul Barattiero, Dr. Paul in the house here in Miami. Welcome, my friend.
Welcome. Thank you. I feel honored to be here.
Paul is a dear friend of mine. I've visited your facility in Utah. Is it still the same name, or is it named differently now?
The company?
The name of the building. Yeah, the company and the.
No, it's different now.
Okay, because I wasn't sure. What is it called now?
I don't know. I sold it.
Oh, you sold the building?
Yeah, December.
Dude, I
sold
didn't know
it.
that.
It went up $1 million.
Congrats. I was just there in November, right before you sold it for Dr. Pompa's event.
Yep. So I sold it and enjoyed that because, you know, the interest rates and all kinds of stuff have happened in this world. And I was like, I don't know what's going to happen with commercial real estate.
Yeah.
And so I didn't need 26,000 square feet anymore.
That was huge.
We are still in the building.
Okay.
We're still there
Got
in about 2,500 square foot of it, which was all we needed. And then we also have 4,200 square feet a minute away, 2 minutes away.
That's
so
awesome. Well, I've been there a couple of times for Dr. Pompa's event. And Paul has been on the podcast before a couple years ago. We're going to take a deep dive into this amazing selective antioxidant called hydrogen water.
Yes.
I think it'll be cool if we start with the backstory of your wife, some of the challenges she had, and how you even discovered this incredible, I'm going to call it an anti-aging molecule.
Yes. Well, everything starts with my wife. You know, we've been married almost 30 years. In fact, she texted me yesterday and said, honey, 30 years ago, you asked me to marry you.
Wow.
And she said, and I said, I would do it again today, for sure.
That's awesome.
But she's the love of my life. But yes, in 2005, we went on a cruise with some friends. They brought water with them on the cruise, which I thought was the strangest thing. And it was just out of here, Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we went out of here on the Carnival
cool.
Liberty ship. It was the maiden voyage of that 90 cruise. Yeah. So long story short, they brought water. I thought it was strange. My wife, at that time of our marriage, we were married 10 years, and she had thyroid issues, gynecological issues, anemia, like chronic anemia. She would lose 30 to 60 ounces of blood per menstrual cycle.
Oh my gosh.
She was just not doing well, and definitely would not be alive today if it wasn't for the water. But these friends of ours brought some water, and I had never thought of water as a delivery vehicle for good stuff, right? Like you think of water for showering, washing your car, hydration.
Yeah.
That's it. I didn't think about being able to deliver a gas to the body or being able to deliver something that's going to have a therapeutic effect on the body. But that's where I became introduced to it. And when we were driving down here from Orlando, she was in pain in the back seat of the vehicle, and we're driving down. We stopped at a Walgreens to change her gear, and they were like, do we need to call an ambulance for your wife? And I'm like, why? And they're like, she doesn't look like she's going to make it. And I'm like, no, that's normal. That's the way it is every month, you know?
Damn.
And so we got to the ship. She went to the room, and I thought, okay, she's going to be gone for seven of the 9-day cruise. She'll be gone. She'll be in bed. I'll just be going back to art auctions and this and that and come back. Well, she ended up drinking this water that our friends brought. And she said, honey, my body's craving this water. I can't stop drinking it. And I said, well, I drank it. I didn't feel anything, right? So it's good water, but I didn't float. I didn't sprout wings. Nothing happened. But I said, you drink that. And sure enough, within 2 days, she was up and around and participating, still on her cycle, but she was participating. And I thought, what the heck? So I started asking my friends, hey, what's up with this water? What is it? And they're like, we don't know. We do not know what it is. It's some company out of, Asia, Japan at the time that was selling us this water, and it's alkaline. It's alkaline. That's what it is. This is the pH. And I'm like, nah, I don't buy that. I'm a medical professional. I'm sorry. It's not getting through the stomach acid. There's no way the pH is getting through. But I was bent on finding out what the mechanism is. And the reason why I was so bent was if it had just helped her on the cruise, probably I wouldn't have been so passionate about it. But once we got home, she started going to their place and getting a gallon of water at a time and drinking it. Within 6 months, her cycle was normal.
Wow.
And this changed our family. This changed our life so much that I was like, what is going on? What the heck is this all about? This is, and I live with her. She didn't change anything else, right? It's just this water. So they were having people buy water by the gallon from their store. I mean, it like saved their business, because this was not long after 9/11 and people weren't coming to Disney. They had an organic food store. That's what their business was. So they start selling the water in there, and they saved their company with that. Well, long story short, I wanted to find out what the heck was the mechanism. And I tested that water for hydrogen. There wasn't really hydrogen, but there was ORP, what's called oxidation reduction potential, which is a result of hydrogen being in water. But there's two key principles. For us to really have the maximum therapeutic, we have to have the ORP, but we also have to have hydrogen gas dissolved. Well, their device was not dissolving the hydrogen gas, but it was creating hydrogen like most alkaline systems do. And so it was changing the ORP of the water. And that was enough to restart her gut and to get her gut repairing, which really helped the gynecological issues, the other issues, thyroid and other things. And so it got her started. And then later, the hydrogen really improved her as well. And so that's what gave me all the passion, was the fact that it helped my wife so dramatically. And therefore me, it helped our family and changed our life. And I thought afterwards, there's got to be millions of other husbands that are going through this and watching their wife suffer and doesn't know what to do. And they're not medical professionals. I was a medical professional. I didn't know what to do. What about someone who doesn't have that background or training? What are they going to do? Nothing. They don't know what to do, right? And you're grasping at straws to what can help my wife, And so it's changed our life. And of course, now it's been many, many years since 2005,
And there wasn't a lot of studies back then, 2005.
No, there were almost
maybe
none.
Coming out of Japan?
There were some out of Japan. Definitely. It wasn't until 2009 that you really had an increase of studies because of the Nature Medicine study that published in 2009 on hydrogen being a selective antioxidant. And that was kind of woke everyone up. I mean, I'll tell you, 1798 is the first study we can find from England where they were saying that hydrogen was an antioxidant. That's why Anthony Carlisle discovered a water electrolysis in 1800 was to harvest hydrogen, because he wanted to get that antioxidant he had learned about. But back in 1975, they were doing cancer treatments with hyperbaric hydrogen.
Wow.
Before hyperbaric oxygen was done on cancer, they were using hyperbaric hydrogen in 1975. And those studies are on hydrogen studies as well. So it was reducing tumor size in cancer back in 1975. And then when you look at Japan, in 1950 to 1965, they did a human trial on batch machines that were just 2 electrodes in water making hydrogen, and they were giving it to people in the hospital because they were doing these studies in the hospital, 15-year human trial. And at the end of the 15-year human trial, they said it cured improper fermentation in the gut, which is everything. If you really understand gut function, that tells you everything you want to know. So there's definitely a history, but to access that was difficult. So that's why I created hydrogenstudies.com, so that you could have a wonderful repository, the best in the world of hydrogen studies in one place. You can search them all, and you can do by subject, by country, by outcome, by whatever. So I've tried to make it as easy as possible for people to study.
That resource is so valuable. Hydrogenstudies.com. There's human studies, there's animal studies. You could filter it out and do searches for whatever term you're looking for. But let me ask you this, Paul. Why, and if you could bring the mic closer too,
sure.
Why are we deficient in hydrogen? Like, shouldn't we be able to make enough and produce it? Does the body produce hydrogen? What's going on with people being so deficient with hydrogen?
Yes, we should be farting more. We should.
That's what it is.
Yeah, we should be.
So somebody who farts a lot has a good amount of hydrogen, is what you're saying?
Possibly. Yeah, it could be sulfur and who knows, methane and whatever. But yes, that's the ideal. The ideal is we should have a gut that's functioning properly. But the problem is people don't know what that means. Like I mean, you hear on the internet, gut issue, leaky gut. And of course, I don't know where it's leaking to. You know, I don't know what that means. Is stuff running down your leg? I don't know.
No, it means that the intestinal permeability is leaking out into the bloodstream.
Of course. I know that, but I don't know that that's
the right term you're saying?
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't even know if that's right. Because I will tell you, gut issues are a bacterial issue. That's all it is. I don't know about the permeability, all this kind of stuff, you know, and get stuff.
So not enough bacteria, not enough diversity.
Well, it's not the right kind.
The right kind.
Yeah, and it's all electrical. So we can fix a gut in 2 weeks, but it's electrical. And it's the fastest way I understand. I found a study out of Russia, and I know it's a naughty word right now, but I found a study out of Russia years ago. It was from 1992. And they showed that strict anaerobes must have a negative ORP, a negative electrical potential of at least 300 millivolts of electrical potential in the tissue of the gastrointestinal. So the colon, if we can get the lining of the colon to be a negative 300 millivolts or more, then boom, we have changed the biome, we have changed the train, and we'll have anaerobic microflora coming in mass. So we should have 91 to 96% of the gut bacteria should be anaerobic. Only 1 to 4% should be aerobic. The problem is if we do antibiotic overuse or we do heavy metals or pesticides or whatever can destroy the electrical potential, then we end up with more aerobic bacteria. Well, that's going to come with it carbs and sugar craving, anxiety and depression. It's because that's what that bacteria wants. So if we create the environment for aerobic bacteria will live there. It's like an aquarium. If you create an environment for algae will grow. If you don't, it doesn't. You can keep the water clean. It's all about balancing it. Well, the same as the gut. It's electrical. If we change the electrical potential to a negative 300 millivolts or a negative 400 millivolts, which we do with our water, then you create the perfect home for anaerobic microflora to create communities.
And how soon can we do that? By just drinking your water?
1 day.
1 day.
And then by 2 weeks, and this is not a guarantee for anyone, but many people say within 2 weeks of drinking the water properly, they're eating gluten and dairy with no inflammation. And I'm not saying you need to eat gluten and dairy, but you should be able to. You know, if our guts are supposed to process all types of food. And so what that's telling you is if you can eat gluten and dairy without inflammation, your gut is functioning. You're processing food properly. It all starts with the stomach acid, which is HCl. Well, the H is hydrogen. So if you don't have hydrogen in your body, you're not going to have stomach acid either.
Yeah.
So it really starts from the beginning all the way down through the channel. So understand that within an hour or two, we can start changing the gut. We've done little pilot studies on people that were taking antibiotics that had IBS. Mm-hmm. And I told them, drink the water and tell me when you start to feel pain. Because when they feel pain, it tells us that the body's having inflammation again because it's trying to repair itself because you're taking antibiotics. And it was all within an hour.
Wow.
Everyone was saying, oh, I'm feeling pain, which means we're acting faster than the antibiotic. We're outpacing the antibiotic.
That's super cool.
So, yeah, it is super cool. And so we've had amazing people. Like Zac Efron was the last person that I helped significantly. Dr. Pompa introduced me to him. And he had some gut issues and stuff from travel and just whatever. And he started drinking the water. He goes everywhere with his Echo Go Plus. And so he's like, it changed my life. He's like, I can eat. He told me literally 3 weeks ago, he's like, I'm eating foods that I haven't eaten in 10 years. He goes, this is amazing. I feel awesome all the time now. If I drink the water, I feel awesome. If I don't, I don't, But he goes, now I feel awesome all the time because I've been drinking it for 2 weeks, like you told me. And I'm actually feeling good all the time. So long story short, this is what we do. We fix guts and we change the electrical potential so that the right bacteria is in the gut. And once the right bacteria is there, honestly, that fixes a lot of stuff by itself. And yes, you're going to be hydrated. Yes, you're going to do that. But here's where the magic comes. If we have anaerobic microflora, within the family of anaerobic microflora, we have these wonderful bacteria called hydrogen trophs. Those hydrogen trophs, their whole existence is to convert short chain and medium chain fatty acids and fiber into hydrogen gas. They will use 30%. This is so romantic. They will use 30% of the hydrogen gas as their own energy source. So they're creating their own environment and their own food. It was a beautiful symbiotic.
That's cool.
Yeah. So then the other 70% part goes out the tailpipe, flatulence. The other part goes into the body to regulate oxidation, inflammation, brain, because ghrelin secretions will go to the brain because of hydrogen. And so it's really a beautiful process. And so you lose that ability when the gut's not working. You regain that ability when you fix the gut. You can call it fart therapy, but the reality is we should be having flatulence, just like you should have stuff coming out the tailpipe of your car. Like if you put tape over that, it would stop, right? And some people are like, oh, I never fart. And I'm like, that's not good.
I want to take a quick break from the video you're watching to share something with you that has made a big difference with my health and the thousands and thousands of students that I teach all across the world. Now, this is a unique device that has been shown to help with skin health, sore muscles, wrinkles, psoriasis, eczema, scoliosis, migraines, sleep issues, arthritis, acne, scar tissue, wound healing, relaxation, and also boost testosterone levels. What am I talking about? What is this miracle drug? Well, it's not a miracle drug. It's red light therapy. As you can see here, this is called photobiomodulation. And I use this red light therapy device every single day. Not only do I use it, my fiance uses it. Our dogs and cats love it. And the device I have here is from Bon Charge. Bon Charge has a different range of big panels, small panels, from affordable to ones that are a little bit more money depending on how much you want. And I love this product. I feel so good. And it doesn't take a lot of time to get all these benefits. I simply take off my glasses, which is Bon Charge glasses, by the way, turn it on, and I have it running for 20 minutes once a day. And turn it on, and as you can see, I just leave it there on my desk as I work. 10, 20 minutes per day will suffice, and it makes a big difference. You're going to notice a big improvement with your skin health and all the things we mentioned earlier in just a matter of weeks. So if you want to get your hands on this Bon Charge red light device or get their big panels, they also have panels that you could take on the go that are more affordable, then head over to boncharge.com/ketocamp and use the coupon code KETOCAMP to get 15% off your red light device, or as a matter of fact, your entire order. Any product, you could get 15% off with that nice coupon code KETOCAMP. So whether it's these Bon Charge blue light blocking glasses, their sauna blanket, or any of their awesome products, use that coupon code KETOCAMP at checkout. We'll drop a link down below. Go check them out. They're awesome. And let's get back to today's video. So, okay, let's talk about that, because when I'm not doing a carnivore diet, I have flatulence because I'm eating fiber and carbs.
Yeah.
But even though I do keto, right? So I'm not really eating beans, but I'm eating fiber.
Yes.
And I do have gas from time to time, flatulence.
Correct.
I'm doing carnivore right now. I'm day 6, and I have no gas usually when I just eat nothing but meat and fat.
But see, you still have fiber in the meat, and you should be processing.
So I still should be having
not as much as other.
I've had 0 so far. It's 6 days in.
Interesting. Well, you're drinking the water and you're clean. Your system is clean and it's processing. So there are some food items, like, the song Beans, the Magical Fruit. So there are certain types of food that do produce more gas.
Okay.
And more smell.
Yeah. When I have beans, I will definitely have flatulence.
For sure. Because they're made of stuff that creates, So not all of it's hydrogen. And you got methane, you got, it could be sulfur. It depends on what you're eating, right? And so that's the reality. It doesn't always have to smell either, right? So just like farting a ton isn't what we're
the goal. Yeah, we're not talking.
No,
that's not what he's saying. He's not giving you a green light for that person watching. Like, oh, great, I'm going to tell my wife that I can fart all I want.
Yeah,
Dr. Paul says it's healthy.
Hate me. They're like, I hate you. So our sheets are, So, anyways, but we should be producing hydrogen. Hydrogen's tiny. We're not talking about, a ton. Hydrogen is a tiny gas. And we don't need a ton of hydrogen. I would say the 10 to 12 liters a 24-hour period. It's not a lot. When you're talking gas, it's not a lot.
Yeah.
But that is the process. We don't need a ton of hydrogen in the body. We just need it there every day because it's a modulator. It's a signal modulator. It's not a one-to-one relationship. It's actually a signal modulator that is modulating all kinds of pathways, over 200 biomolecules in the body. Every pathway you can imagine, from telomerase to SIRT1, SIRT2, NRF1, NRF2, all these kind of things. It works with apoptosis and
one of my favorite topics, Paul, is the cell membrane, right?
Yes.
This lipid bilayer that's made up of protein, saturated fat, and cholesterol.
Yep.
It has these integral membrane proteins that attaches and communicates with hormones and nutrients and hydrogen.
Right.
And we know that hydrogen is the smallest element on the periodic table.
Right.
So that means it could be, I want you to explain, what's the role of hydrogen with allowing this beautiful cell membrane that is not too rigid, but nice and permeable so good things could get in and bad things could get out.
So plasticity.
Plasticity.
Hydrogen will increase plasticity in the body. In fact, in the brain, this is the fastest response. 32% increase in plasticity in 3 minutes. Yeah, it's
in
huge.
Brain cells, you're saying?
In brain, yeah. So when you do an EEG, after drinking 16 ounces of our water, 3 to 5 minutes, you have a 58% normalization and you have a 32% plasticity. It's huge.
Is that why the story you have about the gentleman who had Parkinson's that came up to you at a conference?
The tremors?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say that the plasticity is why they didn't have tremors anymore. I would say ghrelin secretions, which is a master hormone. You have leptin and you have ghrelin, two master hormones. And ghrelin stands for growth hormone releasing enzyme. It's a whole acronym, right? So when ghrelin gets to the hippocampus, the hypothalamus, and the brainstem, it's changing cognitive function, motor skills. It's changing a number of things. That's what's actually happening. That particular gentleman, and it's happened many times after that, by the way. That was the first time when I shared it with you, but it's happened many times. I was just at the International Hyperbaric Association a few months ago, and there was a guy from Australia that was there, and same thing.
Parkinson's?
He had tremors. Well, he had tremors.
He had tremors.
I think he probably had early Parkinson's, but he had tremors, and he was walking around the show. I told him, drink the water. And he came back and he's like, look at my hands. That's amazing. Wow. And so it's because of motor skill, and it's because of your balancing alpha beta waves. You're balancing the brain in general so it's functioning properly, not overfiring on one side versus the other. But he felt the same thing. He felt tingling in his brain within 10 minutes. And he's like, look at my hands. I just find that amazing, right? Because if I had Parkinson's, I would want that. Like, I would be drinking this water every day.
Yeah.
Now I don't have shaky hands, right?
Oh, that's so cool. And so one of the things that you mentioned already was this word, this term, selective antioxidant.
Yep.
And we know that antioxidants could be great, but there's also some drawback to taking actual supplements of antioxidants. Like if you work out and you take antioxidants, you're pretty much blocking the innate intelligence from doing its job, right?
Sure.
That's why you don't want to do something like ice baths right after a workout or take these supplements. But what's the difference between that and what hydrogen does as an antioxidant selected?
That's a great question. I mean, that literally is a very serious question, because every study I've looked at where people were taking high amounts of antioxidants, they end up with cancer.
I know.
So the problem is taking antioxidants is not always a good thing. And it's because they're an electron donor. And so when you donate that electron, the antioxidant becomes a pro-oxidant now. So now your body's got to deal with an oxidant because it's donated its electron that was extra. So now it became a pro-oxidant. It's a problem. Hydrogen doesn't have an extra electron. Hydrogen is a selective antioxidant because it's a modulator. It's not actually donating an electron. You don't have any of that happening. It is modulating many pathways. So it has an antioxidant effect in the body. And that's why they call it a selective antioxidant, because it's only reaching and reacting with cytotoxic or cell damaging oxygen radicals. This is huge. Like you're talking hydroxyl radicals, superoxide. These are the nasty ones. Like hydroxyl radicals that are a lot of times in the mitochondrial respiratory chain disrupting energy production or ATP production. It's the worst damaging radical. And all it is a hydrogen and oxygen. HO is what a hydroxyl radical is.
It's a hoe.
It's a hoe. And so, and it's neutral, which of course it has to be neutral because it never gets in the cell unless it's neutral. But imagine if you add one more hydrogen to it. You have water. I mean, its chemistry is so cool in that way, right?
That's cool.
So when you throw hydrogen into the body, it does amazing things. But in the mitochondrial respiratory chain, you can stop the production of hydroxyl radicals, and therefore you'll have an appropriate ATP, and therefore you won't have to sugar and carb load and create more oxygen radicals. It's just a better, cleaner system.
That's so cool. Something that I've been using your products, Echo Go. I have your Echo, what is it called? The H2 machine right here on my countertop that I drink hydrogen water from. My dog, who's right here, I don't think you can see him on camera. Ziggy drinks hydrogen water too. Great for pets. I want to talk more about that. But one of the things I use it with my Keto Camp Academy students are the students that I have do longer fast, 24 hours, 5-day water fast.
Sure.
And I've noticed when they tell me, I actually don't feel that great when I'm extending my fast, I have them drink this hydrogen water and they feel so much better. So what's happening there?
Okay, so hydrogen is regulating or modulating the same pathways that food would, but hydrogen is not going to turn on your digestion. So you can continue your healing because digestion's off, but you're regulating the pathways so you feel great and you don't feel hungry. We currently have people that go 21 to 35 days on a water fast with our water, and they do not feel hungry but they start it with our water. Ed, I don't know if you had Group.
Edward F. Group. Yeah, he's great.
So he uses our water for water fasting and has for years.
Yeah, he also drinks his own urine.
He does. That's a different topic.
Pampa's doing that right now.
Oh, gosh. So... I don't know if I should go into that, but I'm not going to
talk to Pampa about that in 2 weeks.
I'll talk to Pampa. But here's the funny thing. If you eat a clean diet, okay, I can sort of say, okay, you're not so crazy, right? Drinking your urine. I'm not going to do it. It's just not my choice. It's a different kind of lemonade, right? But the reality is, if people out there are eating foods with pesticides in them and they're drinking the urine, they're drinking the pesticides in a second time. Because your kidney and liver is where that's your pancreatic system. That's where it's coming out. So you're drinking what you just filtered out again.
It'll be highly dependent on the quality of food that you eat if you decide to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do an organic, non-GMO for sure. But anyways, I love Ed. He's great, but that's definitely some shock value when you on stage and you're like,
I think he calls it golden therapy.
Yeah, exactly.
Urotherapy. There's actually a lot of research on it, which is fascinating, but it's
an oxidative, right? It's ammonia, right? So you get oxidation is interesting.
We'll revisit this topic maybe with Dr. Pampa in the future.
Right.
So how does that, we talked about what it does for fasting, right? I've also noticed just N of 1 experiments, like I'm wearing a CGM right now, continuous glucose monitor, and I check blood ketones, and I'll do 24-hour fast, 36-hour fast, a 5-day fast, and I'll do it with the hydrogen water and without.
Yeah.
And when I just noticed for myself, I'll see a better variation of the glucose dropping more and the ketones rising when I have the hydrogen water. Why is that happening for me?
Well, you're regulating pathways and you're stimulating specific things that you would not normally. So hydrogen as a signal modulator is a selective antioxidant, but in addition to that, it's increasing brain function, it's increasing mitochondrial function, it's decreasing inflammation systemically. So any filter system you have in the body, like kidney, for example, liver, it's going to work better because you're reducing the inflammation and that tissue is going to be able to work properly. There were studies on non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, no fat accumulation when you're drinking the water, right? And so a lot of different things like that. The thing I want to remind people of before we get down this road too far of hydrogen being a miracle drug, right? Because it's not. It is an integral part of your body. And the creator, the engineer that created your body, put a hydrogen generator in you, in your gut, because hydrogen's so critical. When we look down to a molecular level, we're carbon hydrogen chains. So you remove hydrogen out, you begin to dismantle a human being, which is what happens when you have gut damage. So however that gut damage happens, yes, it can be chemical invasion. Yes, it can be pesticides, pharmaceutical, all this kind of things.
Emotional too.
Yeah, but it can be stress. It can be toxic relationships. It can be a lot of things. So we're not going to blame it on any one thing. It can be overuse of antibiotics, right? You shouldn't be taking an antibiotic unless you have a life-threatening bacterial infection.
Antacids too.
Yeah. So the reality is your body needs hydrogen to function properly. That's the bottom line. You have to have hydrogen. You can't even produce something as simple as stomach acid without it. And so we have to have it. We also will not have proper brain function without hydrogen in the body, because hydrogen will stimulate ghrelin. Someone was asking me yesterday about autism, and they're like, will it help? And I'm like, absolutely, because autism is a lack of ghrelin secretions. There's studies showing young boys with autism, they lack ghrelin. So you give them ghrelin or hydrogen water and it stimulates ghrelin, the behaviors go away. So whether it's ADD, ADHD, autism, bipolar, schizophrenia, you have studies on all this stuff, right? Wow. A lot of brain, Parkinson's, all these kind of neuro things, hydrogen will affect them immediately because it is regulating cognitive function, brain function, plasticity, all of it at one time. We look at things like our lifestyle now. We're kind of, in some ways, no better than allopathic medicine. Allopathic medicine has a drug for everything. Our little natural medicine world has a supplement for everything.
That's true.
It's the same dang thing.
Yep.
And you can harm people with supplements. You can harm people with drugs. The bottom line, they all do something. And so what I like to do, and I'm not downing any of it, right? Do whatever you're going to do. I like to go back to the foundation of the body. I like to have the body doing what it's supposed to do naturally. I like for food to be our medicine. But we know everyone's not going to eat whole foods. So there will be people that have to supplement. There will be people that have to take in things because they're not going to eat whole foods. And they're not going to eat clean whole foods. So I can talk about from a highest, good, better, best, right? Best would be grow your own food. Have clean food, eat your food, let that be your medicine. Wonderful. I love that. We have a nice little garden, right? My wife is so amazing because I'm lazy. I won't do it, but she does it. And so I benefit. But the reality is that would be our best, but good is eating vegetables, eating stuff, getting some quality organic supplements and things. So you're not taking in heavy metals, you're not taking in pesticides into your supplements. But hydrogen will modulate most of the same pathways as many supplements. Like right now, it's very popular to have peptides. It's very popular to have nitric oxide. It's very popular to have all these things. Well, hydrogen will stimulate nitric oxide, peptides, all these kind of things. One of the coolest things I learned about a year ago was that when hydrogen is present, it speeds up electron transport to 1/trillionth of a second.
Really?
And the University of California, Riverside, I believe, or San Bernardino, I forget which one of their locations, but they had to come up with a new term called a picosecond because they observed that when hydrogen is present, it speeds up electron transport to 1/trillionth of a second, and they didn't have a word for it because they had never observed it before. That's the kind of stuff hydrogen is doing in the body that we need. We need electron transport happening quickly. We need our gut to be working. We need our brain, our eyes, our heart. We don't need more LDL. We don't need our body to have to patch our veins and vessels because they're becoming weak and less plasticity, having less plasticity. Hydrogen can fix all those things. The reason those things are there is because we had gut damage at some point and we don't produce hydrogen. And hydrogen is there to reduce oxidation and inflammation in the body. We know that disease models come from the combination of oxidative stress and chronic inflammation. So if I'm saying that hydrogen reduces those two things, then we're reducing the reason why people get disease. And it's huge. Now, yes, we have 1,250 studies, 3,000 articles talking about hydrogen, 217 diseases so far. And I'm talking, some of the language is pretty strong. Actually, a lot of the language is strong. where it'll say colon cancer. Hydrogen water can inhibit colon cancer. You don't ever hear these kind of things in studies, but it's powerful. You can look at studies on diabetes, and it'll say supplementation with hydrogen-rich water can normalize blood glucose levels. And so impaired glucose tolerance, diabetes type 1 or type 2. We have studies on all these things.
What is it doing with that? What's the metabolic pathway for that?
With diabetes?
Yeah, insulin resistance
It's
diabetes.
lipid and glucose metabolism.
So it's just allowing your body to
process it the way it's supposed to.
Interesting.
Because I think there's a lot of leptin sensitivity issues.
Yes, I agree.
And so hydrogen will work with ghrelin and leptin on a core level. And again, with lipid and glucose metabolism, now you're going to metabolize the sugar instead of having the issue. Also, in those same studies, you'll see cholesterol reduced by 15.5% in the body because you've offloaded the oxidative stress systemically. So the veins and vessels are now have plasticity again. There's a lot of things. I mean, you can get into so many different pathways. You can get into telomerase. I was in a telomere summit a year and a half ago.
Explain telomeres to the audience who doesn't know what that is and what it does.
So telomere is the end of your DNA strand, and the length of the telomere is an indicator of anti-aging. Effectively, it's
one of many indicators. Yeah.
How well are you living? And you can kind of look at the end of the DNA strand, see is it long or short. Well, the thing that's so incredible with hydrogen is in a healthy cell, it will lengthen the telomeres. In a cancer cell, it shortens them.
So it allows it to go through apoptosis.
Right.
Interesting.
And so hydrogen benefits apoptosis and restarts it.
Fascinating.
And there's a thing called a haystack, right? Where cells will only divide 13 times and stop. That's a haystack. Well, if you shorten telomeres, you're forcing a haystack with cancer cells. The reason cancer grows so fast is because its apoptosis is no longer functioning, so they don't destroy themselves. In one of the colon cancer studies, it was talking about the fact that with the combination of the hydrogen water and the chemotherapy, they had 100% cancer cell death because apoptosis was turned back on. So, I mean, that's pretty cool stuff. And all that does is it goes back to what the body should be doing on its own. You know, it's like people that are athletes, right? You work out, right?
Yeah.
People don't want to have long recovery time. So people say it cut my recovery time in half, sometimes more. But they're like, that was a huge benefit to me. I don't want an hour or two of recovery time. 15 minutes is much better. You know, also fatigue. So there was a study on soccer players where there was no lactate buildup in the muscle when you drank the water half an hour before. No what's called exercise-induced muscle decline. So literally these soccer players had either placebo water or hydrogen water. The ones with placebo water, they fatigued at a normal rate. Those with hydrogen water didn't fatigue at all. They just kept on going. And they were doing all kinds of biomarkers and knee extension and all kinds of stuff to see when will the muscle give up. Didn't.
So is that a good time to have it right before you do a bit of a workout?
Yeah. We have
during?
Yeah. Yeah, we have a gym in Fort Lauderdale that G21 or F21, I forget what it was.
F45? Is it?
No.
Okay, that's a franchise.
No, it's an independent owned in Fort Lauderdale. But they just brought the system in.
Aren't there professional teams using it too?
Yes. Yep. The Raiders right now, the UFC Apex, Dana White has our system.
That's super cool. Muhammad Ali's daughter, I saw.
Muhammad Ali's daughter, Novak, he's doing pretty good.
Novak's using yours?
Oh, yeah, for 2 years.
He's the GOAT.
Yeah. So, yes.
I know that my audience is, the keto campers watching and listening. They're just, this is amazing information. Like I have heard you share a lot of these studies and like there's always new stuff that you share that I haven't heard before. But the question is, they're thinking, I'm imagining that, I go to Whole Foods and I get my 9.4 alkaline water in my plastic bottle. Like, am I going to get all these benefits by drinking alkaline water?
Nope.
Okay. Explain why.
You'll get none of them.
None of them.
Okay. Let's talk about this. There is no benefit. And you guys get ready. Sit down. If you're not sitting down, get ready for this. But Dr. Paul loves you. Just know that. There is no benefit to drinking higher pH water. That's been proven since the 80s. Doesn't mean people don't talk about it. And as long as you keep buying it, they'll keep selling it to you. But listen, the stomach is acid. Bile is a 1.5 pH. The environment's a 3 to 5. Why do we think it's good to put something in 9 pH or 9.5 into that environment? And here's where it can be harmful. If you put a 9.5 water into your stomach, it's going to buffer your stomach acid. And then it forces your body to produce HCl to bring it right back down. If you don't have hydrogen in your system, you can't produce HCl. So now you've put a metabolic burden on your body that you shouldn't have put. And you're going to have issues with acid issues, period. And it's all because you thought you were doing something great for your body by drinking something alkaline, but it's not good. It's horrible for your system. And so we should never be talking about pH of food or drink we're putting in our body.
Are there any alkaline foods out there, Paul?
No such thing.
No such thing as alkaline foods?
No.
But there's alkaline diets and alkaline cookbooks.
That's what they call it, but there's no such thing.
What's the highest alkaline food? Or the highest pH food, I should say.
I don't know what the high HP, but let's talk about a cucumber.
Yeah.
5.5.
That's not high alkaline.
No, it's acid. There is no food that grows on this earth that's higher than a 7 pH. So 7 would be considered neutral.
That's crazy. You gave a whole presentation about this last year, I remember.
Yes. So, I mean, this all started with Robert Young messing with people.
Who's that?
Robert Young is a guy who did the Alkaline diet.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah.
So if we really understand how we got into this pickle, which is a cucumber, how we got into this pickle, it was he took food items, all kinds of food items, burned them with a flame, which, by the way, no one has a flame in your stomach, so it doesn't matter. Why he did that, I don't know. But he took a flame, burned food, and then put it into neutral pH water, and then checked the pH of the water after he put the ash into water. So if we really understand what happened, which was a big bunch of nonsense, he would say, this food is alkaline ash producing, acid ash producing. Because the ash changed the pH of the water, and it was a way he could test if the ash was alkaline or acid. So in the beginning of his thing, he would say this food is alkaline ash producing and acid ash producing. People sound like they were cursing every time they say it. And so they stopped and they just started calling foods alkaline and acid foods. It's completely false because there's no such
story.
thing.
That's crazy.
I know. It's no such thing as alkaline foods. There's nothing that grows that's alkaline. And what we need to understand is that to break a food item, we need acid in our stomach. That's why we have an acid environment. Now, I don't want people to get mixed up. Each of your organs is a specific pH, and it must function at that pH. And your body will maintain that on its own. That's why we need minerals. So it doesn't matter the pH of a food item. What matters is the minerals are coming into our body. It's like an aquarium. Calcium will buffer pH in water. Calcium buffers pH in you, which is why osteoporosis is so prevalent, because your body's harvesting calcium to buffer pH in the body. Well, if you give calcium to the body, you don't need to harvest it out of your bones. You'll have enough calcium. Minerals, like, whenever people talk about alkaline foods, all of a sudden you start to say, well, what about a tomato? And what about a lemon? And what about all this, right? It's breaking the rules. It's breaking the rules. And they're like, oh no, but when it gets in your body, it turns out, they come up with all these crap. It's like so dumb. But the reality is the minerals in lemons are amazing for you. And the pH is unimportant. We have to understand that and even these alkaline water that people get in these machines, within seconds, the stomach acid has already buffered it. And I'll get into a big equation for the eggheads in the room, from a stoichiometric, that's a big word, right? From a stoichiometric perspective.
What does that even mean?
That is... Stoichiometric. It gets down to measuring a volume of water and how much buffering is going to happen. It's a big equation.
Okay.
It's like as long as a trailer truck, right?
Okay.
Huge equation. If you were to want to know how much water out of an alkaline water machine that's a 9.5 pH, you would need to consume to buffer a quarter To buffer the same stomach acid as a quarter teaspoon of baking soda, it would be thousands of gallons, over 10,000 gallons of water. So obviously we can't drink 10,000, but that's literally how much alkaline water from a machine it would take to buffer stomach acid the same as a quarter teaspoon of baking soda. So it's clearly not buffering our stomach, because that's what a lot of people say. Drink the alkaline water, it's going to get rid of the acids in your body. It's not true. It's absolutely not true. And you really don't want your body alkaline, because the more alkaline your cells are, the more cancer will thrive. So we understand that cancer thrives in an alkaline environment. It's completely opposite of what people are saying.
Most people think it thrives in an acidic environment.
Correct. And that's not
You're saying
true.
it's not.
It's not. The alkalosis is where cancer thrives.
Is that why with the people who take an abundance of antioxidants are linked to higher cancer rates?
Yeah. And furthermore, cancer doesn't matter how much oxygen. Some people say, oh, it's about oxygen. No, there was a Nobel Prize won from Otto Warburg on showing that cancer doesn't need oxygen. It needs its sugar. It's glycolysis that feeds. So it's not about oxygen. It's not about pH. It's not about any of this stuff. This was all started by the alkaline water companies teaching people, if you drink our stuff, you get more cancer. Well, how come there's been 4 lawsuits so far with the largest alkaline water company? Because their people are getting cancer.
Really?
Yes.
You can't name them?
I don't want to pick on anybody. But everyone knows who the largest company in the world is that
I'll
sells
say
alkaline.
I'll say, look, if you have somebody who's trying to sell you like a Kangen machine or any of these big names, send them this video. It might piss them off, but they need to hear the truth or see the truth, because this is not what most people have come to understand when it comes to alkaline water. I mean, It's such a buzzword. You go to Whole Foods, 9.4, 9.2.
I was in Walgreens yesterday. There's probably 4 on the shelf.
Now, what's the difference between alkaline water sold in the stores that are naturally from like a spring that's alkaline versus alkaline water that's manufacturally made alkaline?
So the pH of water coming out of the earth is 5.5 to 8.4. That's your range.
So 8.4 would be considered alkaline, right?
Sure. Anything over 7. So the reason why we would have a higher pH is minerals. The higher mineral content in water, the higher the pH will be.
Makes sense.
That's it. Unfortunately, the bottles in the store are chemicals that are making it a 9.4 pH. Really not a benefit to the body. It's just for marketing purposes. Literally, there's no benefit. And so we can get alkaline waters on the earth, but there's no need. A lot of people talk about the minerals in water being important. They are not. That's another huge misnomer, is that you need minerals in your water. You do not. They're inorganic. They're from dirt. They're from rock. We need minerals in our food. And the way plants will go into the beautiful earth, pull up inorganic minerals, convert them to an organic state, and it becomes part of the plant. And then we eat the plant and we get minerals, or meat and we get minerals, right? That's the form of minerals that we need for our body, or in an organic state, not organic like non-pesticide, organic, which is bioavailable to the body. The water that we drink mostly is calcium or lime or whatever here in Florida, for example. But you can go to Switzerland, you can go to Italy, you can go to Seattle, you can go to South Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia. You have almost no minerals in the water because it's granite. The water's coming down off granite, and there's no solubility of granite. You're not going to get a lot of minerals out of granite. So if it was true that we need to have minerals in water, then we would have a medical crisis in Seattle, because the water there is about 5 TDS, which is lower than reverse osmosis water, for example. There's nothing in there. 5 the total dissolved solids. You're talking about parts per million. 5. It's like nothing, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, like Mountain Valley has, I think, like a couple hundred, 223 or something.
Yeah. So at Pampas House, 450 TDS. You're talking 5.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So the long story short, if there was any truth to water having to have TDS or having to have mineral content, or you would get sick and it would leach these minerals out of your body, which everyone Kangen tries to say, you would see this in multiple cities in the U.S., multiple cities across the world. You would see medical crises, and they would have to be putting minerals in the water.
Yeah, that makes sense.
On a municipality level, and they're not, because it's not necessary. Water is stable by itself.
Damn, what a paradigm shift. I mean, oh my gosh. Okay.
Sorry.
Your products, Echo. Let's talk about this one right here on our table. So if you're watching on YouTube, hold it up in front of this camera, turn it on and show. This is Echo Go Plus. And it's something you take when you travel, and you can see, explain what's happening here.
So right now we have water, liquid water, you can see it. And in this generator right here, we are separating water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen gas. Oxygen is being sent out a port on the bottom. H2 gas is going in, and we're going to dissolve the H2 gas from the H2O liquid into the remaining water that's in here. That's what is therapeutic. It's the H2 gas that we need. It's called molecular hydrogen or diatomic hydrogen or H2 gas. That's what the body needs to function properly from oxidation, reduction, inflammation, brain, gut, blood pressure, heart, vessels, veins, you name it, it's necessary.
Yeah, it's convenient. At least this one is right there. So how long does it take to produce that hydrogen?
5 minutes or 10. There's 2 cycles of 5 minutes.
5 or 10, and then you just drink it, and you get all the benefits you just spoke about.
Yeah, and really, I developed this one for people that are skeptical because they're like, well, I don't want to spend $2,500 on a machine if I can get this for 10% of that and see how it feels. Once I like it, then I'm going to get the machine.
Yeah.
Well, because this is 10 ounces. You're going to be filling up multiple times a day. Otherwise, but what's nice is once you buy this and then you get a machine because you're like, I feel amazing. I want to get a machine now. This is perfect for travel.
Exactly. That's what I do.
From the machine.
Yeah. So I have the machine in my kitchen. It's a countertop that I just connect to the water line. And it gives me 24/7 hydrogen water whenever I need it. I refill my bottles. I put it in my dog's water bowl. I sometimes add electrolytes to it myself.
Yeah, perfect.
Salt as well. Yeah. What's the difference between, like, let's say the Echo Go Plus that we could take and it transforms it into hydrogen water, and those capsules that you drop into water that turns it hydrogen?
So I used to sell the capsules.
I remember
years ago. I stopped when I developed this because this is so much less expensive for a family. I don't know, call me a dumb businessman, but I don't like taxing a family for the rest of their life. I like having something they can buy one time, charge with a USB-C charger, put clean water in it and make it instead of spending $50 per person in the house that wants the tablets.
Yeah.
The other thing so as I told you earlier, we're separating water. Tablets do that as well. They're using magnesium in a reactive state or elemental magnesium. Here we're not. So this water will taste pure. It won't taste like magnesium. Some people do not like the taste of the water with the tablets.
I don't personally like them either. I just chug it because I want to get it over with.
Well, there's no need. You don't need it.
Yeah, no, with this, that's fine. Yeah. I'm saying the tablets.
Yeah, the tablets, that's kind of nasty. So here's the thing. With this, you have pure water and you're tasting pure water. The other thing is, remember what I told you, when you're separating water, you have oxygen and hydrogen. We're sending oxygen out the bottom. With the tablets, you don't. It's a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. You don't really know what you're getting at the end of the day. You have some unreacted magnesium still in a reactive state. You have oxygen, hydrogen gas. It's kind of a mixture of a bunch of stuff. Here you have pure hydrogen water, honest hydrogen water, because we're sending the oxygen out and you just have the H2 gas, which again, 1,250 studies, 217 disease models. Yeah. That's what you need. We're changing the ORP to be antioxidant effect in the body as well. And so you get everything you need here, but the difference on the machine is filtering water. Here, you're going to make 10 ounces in 5 minutes and everyone's going to fight you for it in your household because they're going to like it. Even your teenagers will love this instead of soda. And the machine makes a 1/4 gallon a minute.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference because it also has a filter to remove the heavy metals, pesticides, pharmaceuticals, glyphosate, all that stuff.
So you can connect it right into your water line. Because that's what I did, because it filters it all out. You don't have to worry about it.
Yes.
We have his products available, Paul's products available. We'll have a link in the podcast notes and the YouTube notes down below. Paul was gracious to give you all a discount code too, which is KetoKamp, KETOKAMP. Thank you, Paul, for doing that. So if you want to learn more about the products, so they have way more than what we spoke about. There's also whole house filtration systems.
Very proprietary, and only that would only be like $2,700 with the KetoKamp discount. It would be amazing for a household. 1 million gallons.
Yeah, if I didn't rent here, I'd have that installed.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I know it's good for Now that doesn't produce hydrogen. That just makes it so your hair and skin doesn't get dry when you shower and bathe.
Right, exactly.
But it makes it where you could literally drink the water out of every,
That's awesome. Yeah, I know Pampa has that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could get that. We'll put a link in the coupon code down below. We'll also include the hydrogenstudies.com website if you want to look up some of these studies. And you're always adding to it as well.
Yes.
I see that it's grown over the years.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add to the conversation, Paul, before we land the plane? Because literally you have to go catch a plane in Fort Lauderdale.
Right.
So
that's right. I was
final
supposed
words.
to be already home, and I'm like, I can't miss my buddy.
Yeah, Paul actually changed his flight to make this podcast happen. That's how committed he is. Thank you, bro.
Love you, bro.
Love you too, man.
So, pets. I can tell you 50% of our pets have cancer because of kibble. Yeah. It's just kibble.
My previous dog had it, and he was on kibble. Yep. My dog now is on raw food. But
raw species appropriate diet is amazing. Yeah. So here's the deal. Dogs don't eat chips in the wild. We don't eat chips either, except for it's supposed to be fun. But you cannot process kibble through the machines without it being 60% sugar. Carbs. So amazing. Unfortunately, they have diabetes and they have cancer. So we have a veterinarian clinic up in Tampa area that has our system. We've got doggy daycares that have our system.
Dude, that's cool.
And they say when the parents who leave the dog at the doggy daycare start drinking the water, all their issues are gone.
That's so cool.
The dogs don't have any issues anymore. And so the parents are like, what the heck? So even for your pets, and you can have fun. You can put a bowl of our water down and a bowl of like
see what they go for.
And they're always going to go for our water. But be able to get that for them would be amazing. And then we talked about nitric oxide. That's huge for people for energy, mitochondrial function.
Your vasodilation, yeah.
Yeah. The number one thing I hear, though, and we haven't talked about it, is sleep. Mm-hmm. So typically within the first day, people drink the water, they have better sleep that night. And then digestion comes after that, and other things they start noticing. 6 months later, their eyesight might be improved. I mean, there's all kinds of things that are going to happen, and some are rapid and some take a little bit of time. But just know every system in your body needs hydrogen, and when you're depleted or you don't have a source of hydrogen, and then you give your body this amazing tool, everything starts changing. And so just be ready for stuff to happen. And even if you have animals that are like the veterinarian is given 2 weeks to live, we've had people that are like, oh, it's 2 weeks to live. And then 2 years later, the dog passes.
That's amazing.
Or the cat passes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So just, love on your animals too, love on your children, love on yourself, and get a system, because people say they don't have money, but they always do. And what's your health worth?
Well, health is not an expense. It's an investment.
That's right.
It's like your health is invaluable. There's no money you could put on it. A multimillionaire that's unhealthy and sick would trade their life in a second.
That's right.
With somebody who's broken healthy. Because our lives could change in one conversation with a doctor.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So we want to be proactive, not reactive.
Yeah. And once you're sick, nobody says, I wish I had more money. I wish I had more time.
No, exactly. Time. That's exactly it. Yeah. Last final question for you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Keto Camper, I want to interrupt the video real quick to share with you what I believe is one of the most important nutrients that we should be taking every single day. Most people are deficient in this nutrient, and it's responsible for over 400 enzymatic activities in your body. And your body just doesn't make it, so it's required to be taken in a high-quality supplement or from high-quality foods. The problem with the food is that our soil is depleted, and it's hard to get this quality nutrient. So what is this nutrient? It's called magnesium. But I'm going to share something with you very fascinating. Check this out. Upgraded Formulas has this incredible product called Upgraded Magnesium. And Barton Scott, the developer of this product and company, he's a brilliant guy. He created nanoparticle magnesium, which has the ability to penetrate your membranes and go right into your cells. There's a 99.99% absorption rate. Now, this is unheard of because with other magnesium products, you better believe it's not that high. And there's an interesting study they're doing with upgraded mag I want to share with you real quick. Early results from a sleep study with Dr. Sachin Patel showed that the average doctor in the group using this product has achieved an improvement of over 35% in deep sleep, more sleep studies, and a double-blind controlled placebo study with upgraded magnesium is coming sooner. And you better believe those results are going to be super exciting. We already know this. Upgraded magnesium is easily the best supplement you can take for better sleep, including deep sleep, muscle aches, cramping, and any other signs of a magnesium deficiency, which is so common, unfortunately. What makes upgraded formulas unique, as I mentioned, is that it's a nanoparticle. This means it is absorbed very rapidly and efficiently by your blood cells. They produce a plasma-like version of minerals that the body recognizes and absorbs without digestion. And the results are phenomenal. I really believe just taking this for a couple of nights, you'll notice a big difference. So if you want to get upgraded formulas, upgraded mag, and any of their products, they also do some incredible hair mineral analysis tests to see your mineral imbalances and deficiencies, etc., and other incredible products that we've referenced before. Head over to upgradedformulas.com and use the coupon code KETOSIS to get 15% off your entire order. That is upgradedformulas.com. Coupon code is KETOSIS to get 15% off your entire order. I'm going to drop a link for you down below in the notes of this video. Okay, let's go back to this video. Paul, I love I talk about vitamin G gratitude.
Oh, yeah.
And how this is also a selective antioxidant in my book, right? Yes. And what it does to put the body in this parasympathetic state. So I want to ask you, what do you got vitamin G for today?
Oh, I have gratitude for my creator. I have gratitude for my wife. I was just talking to my wife on the way and I said, you just bring so much happiness to my dang life. Like this woman, just having her and seeing a picture. She showed me a picture from 3 years ago when we were at an event. And I said, oh my gosh, just looking at you, I just feel so much love, you know, and gratitude. But really, I would say that I have gratitude for individuals like you who have supported me. I am nothing without you. I am nothing without all the support that I have to educate. And I have a huge job ahead to educate billions of people on this planet that you can live your divine potential if you have hydrogen in your system. And that's what I'm trying to accomplish. So people aren't sick. People aren't, you know, they can't do a lot of service to others when they're laying in bed. When they are feeling pain, they're not going to serve others. But if we can get them out of bed feeling good, they'll go serve other people. And so I have gratitude for the amazing individuals in this world that have chosen to support the mission that I'm on, the work that I did to develop all these. When I first started this, people said I was crazy, right? Because alkaline was a big deal. And now 2 years later, they're like, oh, you're brilliant, right? It changes when the studies caught up to what we were doing. Yeah. But I have tremendous gratitude for the blessings in my life, for the health. I have never had challenges of my health. I haven't had to have disease models. My wife has had challenges. So I've watched and had compassion and grateful that I don't experience those same things. I'm very grateful for health and very grateful for the love that I feel from individuals and the love that I feel for individuals in this life. That's what I'm most grateful for, is the relationships.
That's a beautiful vitamin G right there, my friend. Well, I'm grateful for you, Paul. Thank you for bringing us the research, telling us the truth, you know, really shaking things up in the alkaline space. But we need to hear this truth because it's important to get the right information and then to apply it. So thanks for making this readily available to us. You know, this incredible anti-aging molecule and bringing all the studies to us. We're going to reference everything down below, the link for the products and the coupon code. Any social media platform you want my audience to go check you out on?
Well, I'm on Instagram, and I'll just have to tell you, I'm horrible at it, but we are doing better. But I am on Instagram.
Your personal or your company?
Both.
Okay, we'll put them both down below.
Both are on there, and of course Facebook. I'm on. Both of us are on there too. So, anyways, yeah.
Yeah, we'll put that down below. Thank you, Paul. See you in a couple weeks in Utah.
Yes.
Love you, bro. Thanks.
Love you too.